As he comes, Your Excellency, you will note that the Kenya Urban Support Program is within 45 counties. It excludes Mombasa and excludes Nairobi, simply because the two counties are too big and their needs will gobble up the entire ticket. But we have another program for them. Thank you.
The PS had to make that disclaimer because, Your Excellency, I many times don't agree on why Nairobi is considered big. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, William Ruto, Waziri Alice, Waziri Kindiki, and Professor Ndungu, colleague governors led by our chair, development partners, World Bank, country director, and everyone who's here today. I've been asked to welcome you here. I don't know if I'm allowed to, because this is State House. But generally, welcome to Nairobi. This program is indeed important for us because the future is greatly urbanizing. Our city is urbanizing. By, I think, 2050, 65% of the world's population is going to be in cities. In Nairobi, for instance, we'll have 10.5 million people in this capital city by the year 2050. We need to think hard about how we future-proof our cities. I think the challenges that we've seen in recent days in terms of the infrastructure, in terms of housing, in terms of the drainage systems, tell us that there's need to plan for that future today. And we really want to thank the World Bank for the support that they've been offering our country in looking at our municipalities. Now, Bwana PS, where I may not agree with the CUSP omitting Nairobi and Mombasa, is that there are many ways through which we're also decentralizing our services. In Nairobi, we are now undertaking a system of restructuring our capital into boroughs. We are going to have 6 boroughs: Nairobi North, East, West, South, and Southeast, that will step down decision making, will create more centers of customer service. The County Government Act talks about service-oriented government, and that I think needs quite some support. Before we had NAMSIP, NAMSIP 1, that looked at the metropolitan areas. Many times the urban poor are neglected. If you look at interventions that have been there, for instance, the resilience and just securing livelihoods for our people in the lower areas, food support, hunger, attention is given to the arid areas, attention is given to the rural areas, but urban poverty many times, and Senator Governor Kihika and Governor Nyong'o, you know what I'm talking about, that those in informal settlements many times suffer much, much more. We say Nairobi ni shamba ya mawe. If you don't have resources, you'll have nowhere to stay, you'll have nothing to eat. There's more community in the rural areas. So we really want to ask that you support, and we can come up with a new program for the cities. If you look at some of the things that Mombasa has to grapple with, and Kisumu has to grapple with, and Nairobi, for instance, street lighting. Street lighting, the bill is on the county, but if we switch off the lights, it's a national security problem. Should that be a bill that is left to the formula of devolution, or should there be specific support to these cities for functions such as those? The Urban Areas and Cities Act envisions or envisages special financing for the capital and special financing for such interventions. My colleague governors, I want to encourage you as you move to municipalities and as you create these new urban areas to also know that it comes with certain challenges. Number one, you will lose a lot of what you call political homogeneity when you create municipalities and cities. The people who come there might not be of the same political strand, and that is why you have to do a lot of balancing, as we have to do in the city. Number two, as you create those centers, and I'll give an example. In Kakamega, I don't know if the governor of Kakamega is here, around Sigalagala, because of the technical training and the university there, it has become almost a new city. There is pressure on housing. Sigalagala is just on your left as you go towards Kakamega from Bungoma. It has become an entire almost a metropolis with people from different parts of the country and a huge strain on our resources. So we hope, in long and short, that you can help us just look at the economic issues that we need support on. In Nairobi, we are undertaking a planning process of Vision 2050 to look at, yes, we know that there will be 10.5 million people then. What do we need to do today? And how do we then move this into 10-year plans? We hope we can get support from that. We have not yet gotten support in that planning process. Your Excellency, we've discussed how you can help us, even just with the technical teams, because the future is not going to plan itself. So, Bwana PS, thank you. We will still make a case for Nairobi and Mombasa on COSP, but also on the Kenyan Urban Mobility Improvement Program. Your Excellency, the PS says there's a bigger program that looks at the cities, but this program, the prioritization has not been done by the county. And so a huge chunk of those resources are going to commuter rail, yet we know the challenges. Yesterday, you were in Mathare. You saw the challenges those people have, in terms of mobility, in terms of housing, in terms of livelihoods. We need to focus on those. So thank you and welcome to Nairobi. Asante.
Your Excellency, allow me now to invite the country director for the World Bank, Keith Hansen, to come and make his remarks.
Colleagues, great and genuine pleasure to join you today at the launch of the second phase of the Kenyan Urban Support Program, which seeks to enhance the effective management of Kenya's crucial urban areas. The World Bank recognizes the importance of cities as the engines of economic growth. Globally, cities generate 80% of GDP and are therefore central to achieving the World Bank's pursuit of reducing poverty and boosting shared prosperity on a livable planet, as well as Kenya's own goals as captured in the Vision 2030 and other imperatives. Cities are also key, as we just heard from the Chair of the Council of Governors, to combating global crises such as climate change and pandemics.
Alright. Ilino ikwatio kana we sawa mundu wa maina wondhivala we ni mutuse TV naende mwene ikundi ya Chaume Boys Band katiboi mwene ndawa kwithiwa atekwiwa nesa ki kinamonekie thine wachade cha Kamba Festival lakini thiwe wathatu matukwana mwayuwa katano 2024 koya Wizarding Moran chadikila kinoorganizitwe niwe Refugee na Nicholas Kioko naende katiboi nononekie wimo wake wamwi ote museo naende ateimake manotikiu naende methewa na reactions kana mixed reaction naende meanda kumana cho echao kila kiodhenia katiboi para kuisia ondo katiboi ona bafomia chathine kiu oisia kindu chambe no kuona mwi wake opunguite kana wime wake wa mwi wende waisia no kuona some white kana physically no kuona apunguzite his body size chakile no kuona ate perform ondo perform yatene utenen katiboi on stage nooneka achangamukite sana achangamukite kuna ngita athiukite akasizia netina naende okethea utanite muno inde chathene kiucha Kamba Festival ononekie atena ula utanu withia na withia wanago atene
and provided crucial financing for infrastructure and services. So today, we stand at the brink of a new chapter in the country's urban development journey with the approval of the $300 million World Bank credit for the second phase of CUSP. CUSP 2 represents a continuation of our shared vision for sustainable urban development in Kenya. It heralds a transformative initiative aimed at strengthening the capacities of urban boards, enhancing infrastructure and services for millions of urban residents, and fostering private sector involvement in urban planning. The benefits of CUSP 2 should be manifold, encompassing both tangible improvements such as improved infrastructure and intangible gains like enhanced governance, citizen participation, and increased capacity for mainstreaming climate resilience. As urbanization continues to shape Kenya's future landscape, it's crucial to embrace it as an opportunity for poverty alleviation, economic expansion, and service provision. In order to stimulate inclusive growth and prosperity across the country, the counties will receive incentives to provide urban boards greater autonomy and financial support, while also emphasizing climate resilience and private sector involvement. And what's more, through a $50 million grant from the IDA window for host communities and refugees, CUSP 2 will support the implementation of the Refugee Act and the Sharika Plan. Specifically, it will help integrate host communities and refugee settlements and facilitate the transition of the refugee camps of Kakuma and Dadaab into new municipalities. These new vibrant urban centers, with a shared use of facilities and services, will help foster social cohesion and economic empowerment and drive shared economic growth and urban employment opportunities for host communities and refugees alike. In addition, the World Bank has committed more than $1 million in technical assistance to support the effective implementation of the program. Through the Japan World Bank program for mainstreaming disaster risk management in developing countries, we've supported the development of critical guidelines for mainstreaming climate resilience into urban plans and investments. Through the Quality Infrastructure Investment Partnership, we're providing support to enhance municipal service delivery data, improve asset management, and develop an effective framework for subnational governments to engage with the private sector. Also, through the City Planning Labs program, we're aiming to strengthen capacity for data-driven urban planning. Your Excellency, it is no exaggeration to say that effective urban planning and infrastructure investment will both literally and economically shape Kenya's destiny in this century. We in the World Bank are confident that strong investments today can help further strengthen the foundation in the future for sustainable growth, resilience, and equality of opportunity for generations to come. So in closing, let me reaffirm to you the World Bank's unwavering commitment to partnering with government in building a resilient, green, and inclusive urbanization pathway. Your Excellency, together we have the power to shape a brighter, more inclusive, and more prosperous future for all Kenyans. So indeed, the future is urban. Asanteni sana.
Your Excellency, I will not be coming back on stage, so allow me to make these final remarks. Your Excellency, most governors, when they come to see you, one of the things that they ask are markets. And because we know that majority of our people are traders. And it is because of that, in the year 2022, you asked me, where can we get this additional funding so that we can be able to support our governors to put more markets? And at that time, CUSP had been allocated $200 million. Through your intervention, we got an extra $100 million that will go towards that particular work. So governors, now you have the money. Number two, it is important to note, now for you governors, that CUSP 2 departs slightly from CUSP 1 in the sense that you will not get money automatically. There are minimum conditions that you need to meet. One of them is that you have got to deliberately transfer the functions to the municipality. It is another level of devolution. Number two, you must transfer the assets that belong to the municipality, and then you must be able to do a budget for those municipalities. Without those three key things, the money is still not yours. So I will encourage you that when you go back, you fast track on this, because this money is ready, and we don't want to have an issue with allocating the resources. Lastly, Your Excellency, we are undertaking affordable housing program in almost every urban area. One of the things that is this program is going to support is the last mile. So for example, where there is like 2 kilometers of trunk sewer network, you can allocate these resources towards that. Where you need to do a road towards your affordable housing scheme, these funds are available for that. Stormwater drainage and so on and so forth. So we believe that this is the best example, Your Excellency, of what our Constitution envisioned when we talked about interdependency of governments. It has been a pleasure being your Master of Ceremony. It is now my pleasure to invite the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury to come and tell us whether the money is there yet. Karibu, Waziri.
Thank you indeed, P.S. Hinga, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto. Let me acknowledge all distinguished guests. I'm informed, and even my briefing was that we need to sustain the gains from Kenya Urban Support Program 1. And the government has set to implement the second Kenya Urban Program Kenya Urban Support Program 2 at the cost of 350 million, comprising of a loan of 300 million and a grant of $50 million from the World Bank. That's a total of 350 million for the next 5 years. When I was coming here, Your Excellency, I thought that my actually small task was actually to sign and carry that check here. But since then, I think it has changed. I'm forced to say a few remarks on the Kenya Urban Support Program 2 goal that is very, very important to leverage the urbanization as the road to national modernization. And it's going to be important to promote effective urban planning and management systems through counties as primary providers of public service delivery. But the most important thing is that Kenya Urban Support Program 2 aims to sustain the gains achieved through Kenya Urban Support Program 1 and will continue to strengthen the capacities of urban centers in 4 areas. First, to improve the delivery and resilience of urban infrastructure and services. You can see how it has been tested by the France. Second, to equip urban institutions with appropriate technical and financial capacities for the provision of resilient urban infrastructure and services. Third, to build the foundation for stronger engagement of the private sector. And finally, to support the transition of refugee camps into integrated host communities and refugee settlements, and using the resources under the grant component. This area will use the grants under the component. I'm happy about these 4 areas because they are very, very critical in terms of our urban development. However, as we embark on the implementation of Kenya Urban Support Program 2, I wish to urge the counties to ensure full accountability of dispersed funds under CUSP 1, or Kenya Urban Support Program 1, because failure to account for these funds may impact on further disbursement to the affected counties. It is not a warning, it's actually a matter of prudence. Then, to ensure that sustainability of the gains that have been held in the first phase and now the second phase, counties must gradually start allocating own resources for urban infrastructure and services to sustain the momentum, which is very, very critical for our development. Finally, Your Excellency, I would like to urge the Ministry to work closely with other ministries implementing other related projects like Kenya Devolution Support Program, funded by the World Bank, in order to create a synergy and have positive impact on the urbanization at the grassroots level. And this is what we are going to make sure that the momentum is created and we have tangible results. Thank you very much for this, and it's now my pleasure to invite my colleague, Professor Kidiki Kithure, to make to make his remarks. Which one do you start?
President William Ruto, and all protocols observed as established. Your Excellency, as Governor Sakaja was lamenting here about the exclusion of Nairobi and Mombasa, I was rejoicing because of the inclusion of the 2 refugee camps in this program. That is the camps in Dadaab and Kakuma, which were not part of the program phase 1 and which are now part of the program in this phase. So sorry, Governor, and just try next time. Your Excellency, sir, Kenya has been a host of many people from our region who have been affected by war and other causes of displacement in their home countries. These friends of ours from other countries have stayed with us for many years, over 3 decades, since the early 1990s. And therefore, Kenya remains as one of the most successful host countries in the world among the refugee communities. I want to thank the UNHCR and other partners and other countries of the world that have supported us even as we host these people for this long. It has been a difficult journey, and proudly for our country, I think we have done a good job, because it's not easy to host the size of the refugee community that we have, the load that we have. At the moment, 700,000 refugees are here in this country, in Dadaab and Kakuma. And this is the spirit of burden sharing in the world as opposed to burden shifting. Your Excellency, the situation in those camps has not been very, very good in terms of social amenities. And that is why, therefore, we really appreciate the input of CUSP 2 to inject support to upgrade the social amenities in our refugee camps, transform them from camps to integrated settlements where host communities and refugees can live in dignified environment. And so as we improve the amenities in the camps and turn them into settlements, we will also be taking care of the host communities there, so that we don't create disparities in terms of standards of living and conditions of living between the refugees and the surrounding host communities. And therefore, Your Excellency, for us, it's a proud moment. This shows, this will help us as a country to be able to comply with our obligations under the United Nations Convention on the Status of Refugees of 1951 and its protocol, as well as the OAU Convention on governing specific aspects of refugee problems in Africa, as well as our own Refugees Act of 2021, which now is operational. We just gazetted last month the refugees regulations to operationalize the Refugees Act, and that is what gives the legal framework for what we are doing here. So in a nutshell, Your Excellency, it's a proud moment for us, and we hope that the implementation of the Shirika plan, which will transform these camps into integrated settlements for refugees and host communities, will go a long way in giving dignity to our brothers and sisters who, for one reason or another, are unable to return to their countries of origin because of situations that are prevailing in those countries. With those many remarks, it's now my pleasure and privilege to invite my sister minister, Alice Wahome, who is in charge of lands, housing, public works and urban development. Welcome, Minister.
I'm not that short, eh? Thank you very much.
All right. You know,
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of our Defense Forces, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, Your Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Your Excellency, COG Chair, Governor Waiguru, Governor Sakaja, all Excellencies, Governors, Principal Secretaries present, including my able Principal Secretary, Charles Hinga, World Bank Country Director, Executive Director, UN Habitat, who are our great supporters also, our development partners, UN agencies present. May I just maybe mention their staff also, some of them have been very supportive in our coordination work. The World Bank itself stands out in this particular program, Your Excellency. UNHCR, because of the especially because of the special municipalities, Dadaab and Kakuma. Your Excellency, I have a few remarks to make. We have, maybe you allow me, before I forget, to ask the PSs who have come to stand up, we recognize them because they have been working in coordination with Hinga. Let's recognize you, please, because you not have opportunity to come here. Led by the PS National Treasury, they are all here. Thank you very much. Our staff at the ministry for a good job. Please, let's recognize you. You know, this is a state house where you are now. Yeah, very good. Thank you very much. I think feel all welcome in terms of this project, Your Excellency. We are very happy for this occurrence today at State House. The remarks that I will make, Your Excellency, is that it's a significant occasion as we gather to launch the second Kenya Urban Support Program, that is KUSUP 2. It is with immense honor and profound sense of purpose that I extend a warm welcome to each one of you, recognizing the central role that you have played in shaping the future of our urban landscapes, and acknowledge the plight and pledge of KUSUP 2 that will be a vital element in building resilience. I think I've gone very fast there. That our country confronts the aftermath of these floods, and we are acutely reminded of the interconnected challenges that we face in the urban development. The escalating demand for affordable housing, resilient infrastructure, efficient transport system that we need, essential services becomes even more critical when natural disasters strike. Our most vulnerable citizens, those residing in informal settlement, bear the disproportionate burden of such events. Governor Sakaja has alluded to that. We have to reflect critically on the status of our cities and urban areas. It is evident that as a country, we are experiencing unprecedented urbanization propelled by a myriad of factors, including rural-urban migration, population growth, devolution, industrialization, as well as technological advancements, all which underscore the evolving nature of our urban centers.